lead. So we'll talk about 2021 lead gen, plans for 2022, and other things. So we got Sheena, we got Dean, and we are not gonna have Arlene today for personal reasons. So we will do it between Sheena, Dean, and me. I'll join in as well. So for the people that don't know Sheena and Dean, I'll give them a chance to introduce themselves shortly. But basically today you're gonna hear from agents that have either made 100,000 in GCI so far this year in the 9-month span of January till September or more. So if you are one of those guys that haven't made 100,000 or more in GCI so far this year, make sure you keep your phone on the side, get off of Facebook or whatever you're on social media, and listen. So how about we start with Sheena? Just introduce yourself, years in business, anything that you would like to share with us, so people would get to know you a little better.
Okay, thank you, Tony. Hi guys, I'm Sheena. I have been doing this for about 4.5 years, I think 5 years. Started with Keller Williams, still here and happy here. I was here when Kim was a team leader. She recruited me, helped me out. The way I started was basically I came to all of the training, all of the programs that were offered, and pushed myself to make a lot of phone calls. I loved making phone calls for sale by owners, expireds, and now I kind of do a little bit of both and referrals. I have a team of, there's 3 of us now. I work with my husband, Daniel, and my sister-in-law, Christina. She does my marketing and she's a buyer's agent. Both of them are buyer's agents. And we've been doing pretty good.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Sheena. How about you, Mr. Dean?
Oh, let me get I got a dog in my throat. Let me get the dog out of my throat. Thanks for the opportunity to share with you guys. It's really an honor to be with you guys today. We've had a turnaround year, I think. We're going to be doing probably GCI upwards of 250. Knock on wood if I get this 3 flat sold later today. Last year wasn't so pretty, but we hung in there. We persisted. I mean, you guys know me a little bit. I've been around the office. I've been doing real estate for 27.5 years. My gosh, I can't believe it, but that's true. Been at Keller Williams since 2006, Keller Williams Realty Partners since 2012. And you know, it's the sharing and the learning that really is why we've been here. I mean, obviously anybody can go wherever they want to go, but I'm so very grateful for the community we have, the community I've been exposed to outside of our office, and the training. We have a small team too, as long as you're mentioning Sheena. We have my wife's on the team with me. She's our EA for so many years. And we also have Kathy Weaver-Zeck, who's been with me forever as a buyer's agent. She's been doing this with me for probably out of maybe 20 years, which is kind of unusual in this day and age, but she's a reliable buyer's agent. And unfortunately, she's a Sox fan, so she's hurting these days, but she said she didn't expect much anyway. We also have a number of people that have helped us over the years, and now Patricia's helping us and Kaylee's helping us. And we're also looking for other people that can help us with things like open houses and showings and things like that. So I think the key to success has been the persistence. I mean, even when things get a little crazy, when things get a little down, you got to keep doing what you do. And, you know, we've been doing it for a long time, and knock on wood, we'll be doing well this year. I think we got, just looking at my numbers, I think we'll probably end up with about 35 closed and probably a little over 250 in GCI. And that's a little over 9.5 million in volume. So we're doing, knock on wood, we just got to keep at it.
That's amazing. Congrats,
Thank
Dean.
you.
And since I have you now, tell us a little bit more about 2021 in details, why it was successful, what you could have done a little better, maybe to make it, you know, what did you do wrong or bad, and also just give us an idea of this year for you uh, overall.
Well, I mean, this whole COVID episode, which you've all been kind of sucked into, has been. It was a crossroads. It was March 15th of last year. I remember March 13th of 2020 was a Friday, Friday the 13th. If I only would have known, we were having a client event right here. I have city office in Lincoln Park, small office. And we had several clients here and we're talking. And one of the people said, "Hey, did you hear that they might shut things down beginning Sunday? I think it was Sunday afternoon." And that was right before St. Patrick's Day. And we say, "Well, yeah, it'll be a couple of weeks. We'll be fine." In fact, I was talking to you, Joe. It's like, "Yeah, we'll be fine." And little did we know what would happen. And it's happened and we're still here. And I think I attribute the still here to several things. Number one, mindset. You have to keep that positive mindset. I was one of the first people to join James Shaw on his morning calls, which was, I think, about the 15th. Joe, you could corroborate that, 15th of March of last year. And I haven't missed one yet, except for the time when he took some time off. Committed to training, been at every possible video training, including a couple of Bolds and Mega Camp and Family Reunion and Floyd Wickman training. And also, we've just kept it up. I mentioned this today on the Shaw call. Every day I came into the office, I put on some clothes, not necessarily a sport jacket. I'm doing that for you guys because I want to impress you folks, right? But no, not really. But I got dressed and I went ahead and did my lead gen, and several people working with me, they did their lead gen. We kept our distance. We put on our masks and all that fun stuff, but we kept at it. We didn't say, "Hey, time for vacation." Now, there was some pretty weak months early on in the game. And some people had a great year in 2020 and some people didn't, but we kept at it. So we had a hell of a second half of this third quarter last year, great fourth quarter, and incredible first 9 months of this year. And I'm not resting on my laurels, nor is my team. We know that things can change in any minute. I never thought we'd still be talking about COVID restrictions at this stage of the game, but we're still at it. So the key is whatever you do, don't stop. If you lead gen every day, get your training, say your affirmations. Every night, the one thing I do, I think personally, that has kept me through it is first of all, I have an incredible wife that supports me, not financially, but she supports me in what we do. She understands. Number two, every day the things that I added, I was just thinking about this. I added reading. I'll read about 10 to 20 pages every day. Affirmations every single day. Always, always, always plan the following day, the night before, write it down. You know, if it's not written down in your schedule, it doesn't exist. And just keep connected with people. I mean, you know, I've been in the office many times over the last year. I'm still coming into the office with respect of COVID, and just keep doing what you do.
That's
keep
awesome.
Working it.
So I hear a lot of self-improvement, a lot of training classes. Get ready for tomorrow by doing the stuff today. Prep. So awesome. I appreciate that,
Mhm.
Dean. How about you, Sheena?
Absolutely. Little stuff. Thank you.
A little bit more about your 2021. Why is it successful? What done better, perhaps, overall about your year?
Well, it started with, the same thing, 2 children, no school, and then having to deal with my son who's always got allergies and being told that he has to stay home for 2 weeks. So having him at home while my husband worked a full-time job was a little tough, but I made it work. I had a lot of clients that would meet me over Zoom. So I took advantage of the technology we had. Marketing wise, I couldn't come into the office as much or go out as much. So I used Christine and I, who's my buyer's agent and the marketing. We worked on flyers, farming, and once things went back to normal a little, we continued to do more marketing through social media, through some funny videos, and staying positive. I felt like being out with my kids a lot, posting a lot of videos of us doing some fun exercise activities or challenges, I got a lot of the moms to support me and constantly send me messages asking me, and I would always add my tagline, realtor mom or real estate, and, try to get real estate out of everything I ever did with being on social media with my kids. And I got a lot of people, a lot of referrals. I posted something recently, and I had a mom go, "Oh, I was at a party. Your Facebook popped up, and I referred you to my clients or my friend, my best friend, and she sold. Her neighbor sold, and then I got 2 buyers out of that." So marketing was number one. The second thing I did a lot was enjoyed myself. Now this year, I've gone to every networking events, every chamber converse events, just having fun, posting that I am out there socializing with everyone. And a lot of clients like that seem to think that I know everybody and know everything and know all the local businesses. And I do try to support them. Just today, I was at a local business, and I'll post that later. And that just gets me a lot of referrals. The past few years, the past 3-4 years, I was doing a lot of calls. I still do those. I was in the office this week, but I've been getting a lot of referrals through my new way of marketing. But I definitely recommend. What I can improve on is more calling, making more calls, because that's what gets me the green.
Awesome, awesome. So what I'm hearing, which leads me to my next question. Obviously, everybody wants to know, top producing agents, where do they get their business from? Is it cold calls? Is it Sphere? Is it social media? I hear you already touched on that, but can you elaborate and just say, where does mainly your business comes from? What do you exactly do? A little bit more about that. And I like the social media aspect of it, because sometimes you cannot connect it directly to the lead, but a lot of times build your image around your sphere, and they recognize you as an agent. And when the time comes, they'll reach out.
Yes. So the stem of my business came from for sale by owners. I loved calling them. I would call and I would get these leads, but I felt like my commission wasn't where I wanted to be at. And so my percentage, because they were always lowballing me. So I ended up doing a different approach with that. And I'm happy where I'm at now. But I got a lot. I still have all those clients, and thankfully they stuck with me. So what I can do to improve is keep on making those calls. What I've been doing is I have been feeding those past clients, and I've been contacting them, and I've been sending them messages. I have AM cards, so I'm sending them cookies and brownies and happy home anniversary, happy birthday. I have a lot of people that I follow on social media, my clients, and they have a baby, so I'll send them a little cute baby gift, or I'll download their photos on Facebook and put it on those cards, and it just is a special touch for them. On top of that, I do my client appreciation parties. I'm going to do a new one this year. I work with a lender, my preferred lender, and reach out to them. I'm all over the place, and I do this because I get bored easily. So I don't want, and I've heard a lot of agents who unfortunately aren't with us anymore, that they're like, I can't just keep on calling. So if I get bored of calling, then I'll do marketing on Facebook. And if I get bored of that, then I go and I do a lot of events, and then I just keep rotating it. It's just so much fun that the business comes to me because I keep pushing for it. And I truly have a passion for real estate. So I think it just shows, and my clients appreciate that as well. The number one thing that I've been pushing lately, and it's been working, is the Zillow reviews. Make sure that the clients constantly, and I think that was you, Tony, who I remember one time was like, you've got to do it the day of closing. And I have been doing that. And I've had clients go, do you pay these people to write these reviews for you? So that does help a lot.
And I'm thinking about doing clients appreciation party. I haven't decided on what. Do you have something in mind that maybe I can,
I did it with the Park Ridge Theater. I might do another theater again. So it's kind of hard to get I'm more of a listing agent, and this year I've been focusing on getting more buyers so that I've got all kinds for my buyers agents.
Yeah.
But my listing agents, my sellers moved out of town. So how do you have a party when they're mainly in Florida? Or, they'll refer out to me, but so I target my sphere, my friends. It's all about the photos. So make sure that you have the proper, you work with someone to sponsor it with you, your team, your attorney, your lender, and they're all there, your inspector, so it's not as costly. And then you have your goodie bags. I actually invested in on my Cricut. And so I made all the goodie bags with my logo on it, and shirts and hats, and it was not costly at all. So someone with a low budget can have a huge party. Make sure you invite all your friends, your family, and tons of photos. And a lot of my clients put it on Facebook, and a lot of clients just assumed I had tons of clients at the party.
Awesome. I like that. Thanks for sharing. Back to Mr. Dean. Dean, your team is little over 200,000 in GCI now for this year. Congrats. Everybody wants to know, where does your business comes from? What do you do to lead gen, and how are you doing it? I want a piece of that.
Well, you could join our team, Tony. We'd love to have you. But seriously, here's I've always looked at real estate in two separate prongs. I look at today business and future business. I've always done it that way, even from the beginning. So the question becomes, well, what's today business? Today business are people that are raising their hand and they need to sell within 30 to 60 days. So what does that mean? Well, that generally comes from me for sale by owners, expireds, and certain cancels, right? That's the today business, okay? Now, if you do that today business, in my view, you'll generate some revenue. So if anybody's brand new to the business, you're going to generate some revenue if you begin working on for sale by owners, as you said, Sheena, expireds, cancels, you'll generate some business. Now, the hit rate is a percentage. You have to determine what your conversion rate is. However, these are people are raising their hands, say they want to sell, but they just don't want to work with you necessarily. You have to develop a system, the methodology to convince them that you're the best agent. Different script for sale by owners, and different scripts for cancels and expires. But you have to master that, in my view. Then there's future business. Now, future business is paramount because that's your sphere. And here's what I'd like to say. If you have, and I believe it, I like parties and I like get-togethers and all that kind of thing. I got to do better at it. That's why I'm glad I know Sheena, who might be able to guide me along the way on that. So thank you. Future business is your sphere. Future business is people you know. Future business is people that will hire you without shopping you among other people. There's always not 100% of that will, but for most of the part, what they're going to do is they're going to work with you because they know you and they know your quality and they know you're service oriented. So every day, it's my objective to contact 45 people. That's my new goal set by my mastery coach. Or he said, I think I'm in breakthrough these days, but whatever. He's a mastery coach, and he says what you got to do is have ambitious goals and ambitious contact goals. So I'll probably talk to about 15 or 20 cold leads a day. And some of these, this is today's. I mean, you can't see it on the Zoom because of the fake background. But I've already called and talked to about 11 people that are cold, FSBOs, expireds, cancels. I also have talked so far to 11 people on the sphere. So make those calls in the morning. And I know James Shaw, if you're on his call, it's care calls. For people that are in your sphere, how you doing? What can I do? Sue and I are concerned about you. And those care calls never go out of style. I also ask them very subtly, hey, it's a great time to be thinking about making a move. Prices are very strong for sellers. Who do you know who that might be selling? And that's an important question. Not not are you selling? No, it's an easy one to answer. But who do you know that might be? So the objective here is to grow that sphere by getting referrals from people that you know. And I've really put special action. in that this year, special intent, special focus. And my database has grown from a core of probably just under 300 to about 570 of people that I know and people that are referred to me. And I put them in, whatever you use. If it's Command, we're building a Command database. We also have another database through another contact manager called Top Producer. And every morning I get up, I do this the night before, and I find out exactly who I have to call the next day. So I combine the now business and the future business concept, because you don't know who's ready. And if you do that, you'll get business now from people that need to sell now, and you'll build your sphere and your database with people that will work with you, but they don't necessarily need to sell right now. So for me, it's the combination. And what I need to do is be a little more like Sheena, have more reach outs, have more photos on Facebook, have more client events. And that's my objective for next year, to do more of that successfully.
Focus on two things that you said. You're going to contact 45 people a day. So that's awesome. However, if you are newer and you don't, it might be overwhelming for you. You can start with 5 or 10 or 15.
Sure, yeah.
You, Dean, were doing less than 45 up until now, right? On both day teachers do 20 contacts a day. So
right.
The other thing that you mentioned that's really interesting is, so you're a guy that had 300 people in your database, which expanded to 570, and your team is producing over 200,000 in GCI just in 9 months this year. Let that sit. Because everybody's got at least 200-300 in their database. They might think that they don't, but if you look at your contacts on your
phone, yeah,
you a lot of people. So that's awesome. Thank you, Dean.
My pleasure.
So talking about main sources of business and lead gen, what are the things that you're going to keep doing in 2022 that were giving you business in 2021? And what are some of your new strategies that you might implement in your business to bring more leads and more deals? Can you talk about that?
Sheena, you want to take that or first?
Sure, Tony. Yes. One of the things that I wanted to mention that I did differently, and I'm going to continue doing it, and I absolutely love the turnout, was the teacher appreciation lunch. I did that instead of my client appreciation event, and I hit up a local business to support the lunch, to pay for the lunch. I got a great deal, and I brought their menus with. I also worked with the principal, the teachers, and I was there in person. I had to set up outside because of COVID. They were like, just drop off the lunches. I made sure to have that personal touch. And then afterwards, I sent them letters saying thank you. So something like that. I'm going to continue to do more that involves local businesses, supporting teachers, having the parents, and trying to make a twist where it's not just about me, it's more of helping others. And when I did that, I didn't expect it. They put Bella Holmes' team in the Chicago Tribune. I got a lot of people that reached out to me to thank me. All the teachers now know me, and I didn't even know half the teachers there. So I want to continue to do more of that, and just I'm looking for other ways to do that in 2022 to help out local businesses and to get my name out there, as well as continue to make calls. 100% correct, and every time I hear
Good morning. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, she is. Producing and jumping in on the call.
There you go. And to continue to lead generate, which is really important because I get in my ways. I get comfortable. I think that I'm awesome. And then I forget to make those calls. And then it's a month or two of what do I do next? So I've got to continue to do that.
And are you doing those teachers appreciation lunch parties at your kids' school or someplace else?
At my kids' school, I was thinking of maybe continuing that and then maybe doing something else to support the nurses, to support, areas. And we're planning on meeting tonight, my team and I, so that we can just come up with some more ideas for next year.
So you're not just doing the appreciation party for the clients, but you also will go to a local business and work with them.
Yes. And so a shout out to them, a shout out to the teachers, and now I'm going to do baked goods to give those out. So that's helping everyone in this circle of appreciation. Another thing that I wanted to focus on, which I have been doing a lot of, is through my Chamber of Commerce, just doing events with them. And that is getting me so many more connections that I did not expect. So that is helping. So I definitely recommend joining groups and sticking with them and just kind of feeding them. The moms that follow me have been supporting me so much, and I've been trying to return that support by doing these events and possibly sponsoring something for them. A lot of people are starting their own businesses because they're that's something that's happening right now, is the oils and the makeup and all that. So I'm going to try to do something like that to just help them as well. And I get a lot out of that, thankfully.
Okay, awesome. Sounds awesome. Thank you.
Mhm.
How about you, Miss Dean?
Well, again, thanks for letting me share. I think that we mentioned, which was very prescient when you talked about, well, what about me? I'm new to the business. I haven't done this stuff before. I don't have a database of all these dozens and hundreds of people. Well, you do two things to establish yourself as a new, and I'll talk about what I'm doing this year, but you got to build your database from people you know every day. And we've been doing that steadily and consistently, more than ever before. And you realize there's business out there. And we've worked in conjunction with some of the newer agents in the office that have helped us and built their own startup businesses by calling some of the FSBOs, expires, and cancels that we researched. Sue was instrumental in researching, getting phone numbers, pulling tax records. So when we call them, it's not just a cold lead, it's somebody we researched before. So what we've done, what we're committing to do next year is continue to do what we've done. And so we're just keep that consistency. See, the problem is some people say, okay, I'm going to make these calls, and they make 5 calls, 10 calls a day for a week, and they go, I'm bushed. I'm going to take a couple of weeks off. And then, as you pointed out too, Sheena, it's like, okay, then the business starts to go down. Well, I better generate more leads. So you're like a little ant trying to generate more leads for a while. And then all of a sudden you get some business, say, well, I've arrived. I'm at the plateau. So I don't have to generate leads anymore. So they rest. And my objective is not to do that, is to create that consistency all the way, throughout the year. So I always have that spirit going and that effort going all the way as we continue our weeks throughout the year, no matter the weather, no matter the economy, no matter the pandemic, we just do it consistently. Now, we also have a curated social media presence. And if anybody wants to check out what we do, we have something called deanteamchicago.com on Facebook. I think it's facebook.com/Chicago Real Estate Team. And we post on that 3 times a day. Well, I don't personally post on it 3 times a day, but we have syndicated content midday. We have Chicago-based content that the team participates on, Sue and Kathy. And we have things like a restaurant review that we do every week, and what's going on in Chicago this week that Sue writes. And we try to keep our focus hyper local, and we try to keep it fun. So we're combining what we do in terms of our prospecting, our calls, our events, with a sound social media presence. It's a lot of business stuff. It's not so much, Sheena, as what you do with that. Here's pictures of this and that, and family and friends. And maybe I got to do more than that, because I'm kind of not as into that as a lot of other people are, but it's very valid. Whatever gets you through. And if it's your family, which is number one, put them front and center, and they'll realize you're a real person. The key is to make what you do real, and make what you do relatable, and make it like you're not always just asking for business. It's having a conversation, and that's what you need to do. And we're going to do more of that and build on what we've done every single day, every single work day, not every single day, but every single work day next year.
Awesome. Thank you, Dean. I want to share something with you. It's a interesting story about the closing that I have last week. And before I do that, 90% of my business comes from people that I know or referrals from them. So everything is sphere or referrals. And to go back to making the calls and just keeping in touch. It's so important. Sometimes I like to kind of twist it a little bit and bring value to my clients. So when I call them, I want to call them with a purpose, either real estate opportunity or something else. Like, did you pay your property taxes? Did you file your homeowner exemption form and other things? But I want to share a story. I had a closing last Friday in a house in Des Plaines with a buyer that I met in the middle of the summer. And how I met this buyer is I had a past client that I called earlier in the summer because long story short, he sold 2 houses with me and he moved to a condo. And I knew that after a while, he is not going to feel comfortable in that condo because he's used to being in a house. He likes gardening, but I know that about him. I know him personally well. So when I saw this ranch nearby his current condo, which is the same area that he likes, I gave him a call and said, listen, I saw this ranch. I know you like making wine. I know you like gardening. This one has a basement. It's perfect fit for you. Have you thought about getting a house now? And he's like, I want to get a house. My wife is against it, but I do want to get a house. Let's go and see it this Saturday. I'm like, okay, great. I know financially he's solid. He's got a very successful business. So I said, okay, awesome. He calls me the day before the showing and says, listen, I lost interest. I know what happened. He called his wife and his wife says, no, we're not moving. We're staying in the condo. But he said, I have a neighbor of mine who lives in a condo next to me. He's been talking about buying a house. And I showed him this one and he's interested in seeing it. Would you mind if he comes to that showing instead of me? I said, sure, bring him in. We went, we saw the house. He didn't like it, but guess what? Next week he got pre-approval. And last Friday I closed with him. So the moral of this story is basically, if I wouldn't have made that call to my client, I mean, I brought him a real estate opportunity and perhaps buying a house or maybe calling for something else, I wouldn't have gotten this client. There was no way that he would have thought about me talking to his friend and there was something for them to hold on to it. I had a house to show and somebody wanted to come see it. So it's all about doing the activities and keeping in touch with your sphere for me. Thank you, Sally. So with that being said, do you, Sheena or Dean, have a funny story related to lead gen and getting business that you would like to share from the past year or couple years back that might be interesting to the listeners?
I just similar to that, and congratulations, Tony. That's freaking awesome. I love hearing those stories. Similar stories to those. I mean, that's my clients this year, I've been calling my clients to touch base with them, and either they know someone or it's a friend or a family, and I've been getting referrals from that. But one of my bigger clients that I think it's 3 years ago, I called on a sign that they had a for sale by owner sign. And I reached out to them and I said, you've been asking me every year if your house is worth $1 million. And this year it's almost there. And so he's like, really? So he called me back the next day and we did the same. We did a CMA. He was so happy. There was some issues with him finding a place to live in. His tenant wasn't moving out, but it's going to be going back on the market very, very soon. And it's a really good, higher priced property. So if I hadn't made that call and told him what his home was worth and offered him a free CMA, stopped by, had some coffee with him, there's no way I would have gotten that one than to sell his tenant. He pushed his tenant to move out, sell that ranch, and possibly his lot property. So that's, 3 just for touching base with them and just kind of seeing how he's doing and giving him a market rundown.
Awesome. Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Tony. I was going to add something.
I just said, get creative, know your people, before you call them, look at your notes, you know, look through their Facebook page, see stuff, and just engage them that way. Go ahead, Dean.
No, I absolutely agree with that. And Sheena, that's so cool. And I think it points to the consistency and the persistency, which is all what's all about. Sally said it's people business. It is a people, no matter how technological things will get, no matter how important social media gets, it still boils down to us. It's still, you know, people could find properties on the internet. James Shaw was talking about this the other day. They don't need us to find the properties that are out there. They need us to get the properties that they find and close on. That's what we have to remember. You know, there was a day back in real estate, and Joe knows and Sally knows this, where people couldn't even find the properties unless you had a realtor looking on the multiple listing service. Well, now they don't need that. They could go on one of a multitude of websites, Zillow and Trulia and all that kind of thing. And you get as many properties they want, but how do they get them closed? That's what our focus has to be. Helping our people, helping our clients. That is so important. So I had a situation one day, people that see my call sheets for FSBO's expired, canceled. This is not a good one. These are newer. But here's one from a couple of weeks ago, where every time I talk to somebody, you can't see this on this thing, but I'll explain it to you. I put notes. Called, voicemail, called, voicemail, called, voicemail, called, voicemail, called. Got them, they're busy, call them later. One time I was talking to somebody for 31 months, not every day, but 31 months. That's over 2.5 years. And finally they called me and they said, you know, Dean, of all the real estate people that have contacted us, you've been the most persistent and the nicest. We'd like to give you our building, which was in Rogers Park, and it was $1.4 million. And we also want our neighbor to sell their building. And we can't think of anybody that we'd like to do it except for you. I mean, I could give you a half dozen examples of something similar, where a lot of other people would have made the 3 calls, okay, nothing's there, and give up. Or they get rejected and they just give up. Or you have clients that tell you they're going to sell their house one day, they're going to buy a house or a condo one day, and they give up. So that's why the persistence is important. We had this year, if you take a look at our transactions, 9 of them were from for sale by owners or expireds or cancels that initially told us, no, we're not interested. And the rest of them were from referrals of people say, hey, we're not thinking about doing anything now, but one of these days, probably next year, you know, maybe early in the year, who knows? And then when the time is right for them to make a move, there's nobody else they're going to call but you. So, excuse me, that's not a funny story. Not so much, maybe it's an inspiring one. Because if you don't give up and you keep at it, you'll land some of these, and they're real money. I mean, just think of selling a $1,400,000 building. That was a pretty decent real estate commission, and it's all because we didn't give up. We didn't say, this ain't going nowhere. So just keep up at it is what I'm suggesting.
Awesome. So you stay in front of them, and
Yep.
What was the saying? People like to work with people that they know, and they know that they care and they trust, right?
And they like. Yeah.
Like,
It's just never push them. It's just, hey, I'm here when you're ready. I need you. Here, I'm here when you're ready. I need you. For it depends on the circumstance. Now, some people will blow you off, and some people, of course, that's the nature of selling. And some people, you look up one morning and they're listing, you know, hey, Dean, call me Tuesday, and we'll start working. And you look on Monday, and they listed with Joe Bones. That happens, but you just got to keep up the consistency. The successful people don't give up in the face of adversity. The successful people keep at it. The successful people, not holding myself or Sheen or anybody else out, or Sally or you guys, it's you know the value of the relationships, but you also know you got to expand that circle. You got to meet new people. Real estate, Gary said, real estate is a contact sport. The more contacts you make, the greater your database grows, the greater the chances for making the money you want to make. And you know, that's what it's all about. It's God, family, then business. And you got to grow a business to take care of your family. That's why we do this. It's all about the people we love. My thoughts.
And persistence is not a bad word, as Sally said.
Nope, not at all. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I got last question. If some of the people in the audience want to ask something, put it into chat. We might have time for another question or so. But my last question would be this. What would be your advice to a brand new agent that is just, you know, looking to get into it? And also, what would be your advice to an agent who's been in business for a few years, but perhaps not doing as good as he would like? What can he do to just kick it up a gear and get things going in a better way? Sheena?
Okay, my biggest advice is to not look for excuses. I'm the excuse queen, but I have to reminding myself that I can do it anytime, anywhere. If you're a mom with 3 kids and you're constantly at home with them and you're at sports and I have no time, I have no time. You do have time. Grab your phone, send a text message while they're in sports, while you're cooking, make calls when they're taking a nap. Don't make any excuses and lead generate. That is the number one way to get more business is lead generate. Take them with you to door knock. Take them with you to post videos. Just do not find excuses and make it happen. I forgot what the second thing was I was going to say, but yes, we'll go with that.
Awesome.
Sure, it was profound, very profound.
Thank you.
Very cool.
How about you, Dean? What would be your advice?
Well, the thing is never get stopped. And excuses, I love the way you said that, Sheena, because you are a mother of 3 young children. You could come up with a million excuses.
2.
2. Okay. Well, did I talk out of school?
Like 5 with all these sports.
What about the triplets that are on the way? No, I'm just kidding. But you are the mother. I'm sorry about that. I lost count. You're the mother. You are the mother. You are the mother of young children. You have a family. You have you have your in-laws and your parents. You have a crazy husband. You got all these people that are running around you. And how many agents? Probably most of them, I might add, would say, "I can't do this. I have no time. I can't do this. I got to cook dinner. I can't do this. I got to do the wash. I can't do this. I got to scrub the floor." Get off it. Get off it, because there are a lot of successful people out there, ladies and men, that say, "I could still do this." I mean, get on the pivot shift call every morning and you'll see dozens of these people. They could easily say, "I can't do this," but they do it anyway. There's a book, I forget who the author is, maybe Joe, you know who it is, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. I mean, there's so many days we all get up and say, "I don't feel like lead generating today. It's cold. It's hot. I don't want to get out of this nice warm bed," but you do it anyway. I mean, I get up at 5:15 in the morning and I don't have kids waking me up. And that's a blessing and a curse, I guess, sometimes. But the thing is, I just know this is what we have to do, because that's what keeps you going
and
every single day.
Another tip is to have an accountability partner or have something to hold.
Oh, yeah.
Accountable. That's what helps me. And that's what helped me throughout the years is get into a team, a group, partner up with someone so that you guys can hold each other accountable. I was just telling you that, Tony, last week. Let's hold each other accountable for making phone calls. Sally and I are always talking in an accountability group. I have accountability group for working out. It's helpful. You need someone to just guide you, and I'm happy to be in your group if you want, if you need.
Oh, that's great. And the thing is, always plan to do the following day, the night before. I can't emphasize how important that is, right? I mean, I'm crazy about this. So every night before I go to bed, my wife thinks I'm nuts because I put out the clothes I'm going to wear the night before on the doorknob. I'm going to wear this shirt today. I was in bold, First Step to Bold today. So I wanted to wear some kind of KWS shirt and a jacket so I look somewhat presentable. I put this out. And tomorrow I'm not going to wear necessarily the same shirt, but I put it out. I don't want to get up in the morning and think, what am I going to wear today? I know my socks and underwear and everything else, the pill, I have to take medication. It's all put out. All right. So I don't have to do that. And who am I going to call? A lot of people get up in the morning and say, who am I going to, there's nobody to call. I do that the night before. And what about my sphere? Which of my sphere members am I going to call? Night before. You get up in the morning knowing exactly what you have to do and you hit the ground running rather than wonder for 40 minutes, what am I going to do? Time block it the night before for what you're going to do the following day. It's an incredible thing. If you could change your life, do it that way.
Awesome. I just want to, my advice would be there are probably dozens of different ways to lead gen, right? You can do open houses, cold calls, sphere, work businesses, do events. There's so many things. My advice would be basically pick few that really you would love to do, and work on them over time. If if you get better and better, the more you do them, the more business you generate. Because not everybody can be cold calling, and not everybody can be doing a charity lunch at the school, because they just not their personality. But there are so many other ways to do business, but just pick one, stick with it, work it 6 months, work it a year, see the results, and then draw conclusions if it really works for you or not. With that, I want to thank our guests. You guys were awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. You were awesome too. Thanks for doing this.
We're gonna do probably another one of these in the coming up months with some of our other stock producing agents. So make sure you join us for this call as well. For those of you who don't know, we probably will be starting Ignite next month. So we'll have a lot of good classes coming up. I just want to thank you one more time. Awesome job, Sheena and Dean, and good having you all on the call. We have a pretty good turnout.
Yes. And thank you, Tony. We've had, what's the number? 19, I think we went up to 21. Incredible job. This is keeping everybody together and keeping them focused. So thank you for your leadership on this committee. We love you, man. And we'll all work together and have a hell of a 2022. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys. See ya. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Whoa.
Bye. Thank you.